Hi, I'm Larry Mike Renna. Welcome to this edition of Associate Forum Profiles. With us today, Mr. R J Renna. He is the candidate for the 14th Legislative District. As you've been watching, we just did our show with Kevin McCaffrey, and that turned out really well. And one of the people that Kevin is backing is you. Could you tell us a little bit about your background?
Yeah, thanks, Larry, and thank you so much for having me on the show today. I really appreciate it. So, grew up in Lindenhurst my whole life, born and raised, and went to Lindenhurst High School, graduated, stayed in Lindenhurst, stayed local, went to Farmdale State College, and have a bachelor's degree in business. And I got really involved in my community. I became vice president of the Chamber of Commerce, president of the Kiwanis Club, and just really started getting involved and said, we got a lot of work to do here in Lindenhurst. We got a lot of work. And the more and more I started getting involved, the more and more people started reaching out. Can you help me with this? Can you help me with that? And it's really turned into my life. Politics and being a part of local government in the village has been a huge part of my life. And I'm really lucky. I have a beautiful wife, Allie, and two little kids, Lily and Riley. They keep me busy as well. But yeah, that's pretty much a little bit about me.
And also, you're a deputy mayor of the village, so no doubt the mayor must be keeping you a little busy, too.
Yeah, Mayor Mike keeps me very busy. And the deputy mayor role is something I started a couple of years ago. Been on the board since 2017. And, we've done a whole lot of downtown revitalization. That's been the core focus for me. We had 23 vacancies when I started, and I think we're down to like 3 or 4 right now. A huge, huge turnaround in Lindenhurst.
Yeah, it takes a village. It's a cozy little village.
Yep.
And there has been so much work done there. And I know that you have worked previously with the presiding officer, Kevin McCaffrey, on many projects. Just going back to when you were talking about being vice president of Chamber of Commerce, the businesses were really hurting down there for a while, and you were able to bring that back and start doing a revitalization, working with him.
Yeah, I mean, when we talk about downtown revitalization, Kevin McCaffrey was on the village board with Mayor Brennan, and they really kick-started it with the talking about the project at the well, which TriTech came and built. They laid the foundation for that, and TriTech was just the boom for it, right? People saw that somebody was willing to invest $100 million in Lindenhurst, and all of a sudden, all of these businesses were so attracted to that, and they saw the opportunity, and it really kick-started from there, and Kevin was a huge part of that. He got us money for walkability studies, for downtown master plans, and we took all of those studies, and we developed a vision for Lindenhurst. And really started to make it happen now.
And that vision became a reality.
Yeah, it really has.
Because if you go back, let's even go back like 15 years or something like that, how it looked to how it looks now, it's night and day pretty much.
Yeah, it's night and day. And I think what I would say is it takes time, right? It's been 7 years I've been on the board, and we've done a lot of good work, and there's still so much more to do. But because of Kevin and his assistance and the funds from the county, we've also won a lot of state funds. I mean, we've brought in over $10 million in the last 2 years to help revitalize the village, and there are a lot of big projects coming up. And I'm really, really excited to see the next step for the village. And we're real close, to making some really big things happen there.
So you've had a lot of major accomplishments since you've been deputy mayor, and you've been working with the mayor and the board, getting these things started. Some of the top things have to be is because Lindenhurst, where it's located on the island, you're not exactly on top of the mountain.
No.
So water and flooding has been a previous issue that you've been helping working on, and something you'd like to see more of in the future?
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad you brought it up, Larry. It is we're right pretty much at sea level, and Sandy devastated Lindenhurst. And after Sandy, there had been so much great work that happened. Camp Bulldog and all these organizations coming together to help rebuild south of Montauk and help people. And the village's part in that is to assist with those organizations and continue to help residents, but furthermore to invest in infrastructure, right? And unfortunately, it costs a lot of money to do a lot of those things. We've been very lucky. We got a lot of grant money. We just got a little over $2 million from the governor to finish a resiliency project along Shore Road. We were at risk to lose the road if the bulkhead didn't get completed. And that's been an ongoing project for years now. So we're finally putting that to bed this May, and it'll be finished. But other work is road raisings, pump stations we've done on multiple blocks, check valves, all these little mitigation techniques to help prevent the flooding occurrences from being so frequent, to a little bit more spread out, right? It was drizzling down there and the streets were flooding. And we've made some improvements to help infrastructure-wise, and I'm excited to see, because we have a lot more coming. We're doing some road work and some road raisings and a couple more pump stations, which I think will really help residents south of Montauk.
Right, and it's not just, Lindenhurst Village, but you've been working through the whole entire district, getting things done.
Yeah, I mean, luckily Kevin's included me on a lot of things that are
Right.
going on, and we have great partnership, Kevin and I, and I'm really appreciative of that. And he lets me jump in and fill in for him at different chances and different opportunities as they arise. And he's really, opened my eyes to a lot of the issues that are going on. I mean, water quality is a huge issue for us in the county, and Kevin's been very aggressive about trying to protect the water for future generations, and I think he's done an amazing job. Some big things that they've gotten done, the county legislator last year. And really, it's trying to figure out, how do we continue Kevin's legacy? How do we continue to protect the environment, continue to provide resiliency solutions for residents, not just in Lindenhurst, but in the entire district, and then in Suffolk County at large.
Right, and then also, like you were saying about water quality, and a lot of times what had happened in that storm, that the salt water was coming right up into the sewer drains,
Yep.
and just a nightmare.
It is, and I mean, we're in a situation where there are so many streams that run through Lindenhurst, so it all flows down from Sunrise Highway and into our bays, and we talk about what the runoff from what people put on their lawns, oil, all these different things, going into the bay and then contaminating the water, right? So we really want to be careful about what we do, and we want to be smart about it too, right? Because all of these different streams and stuff, they have to be cleaned out, they have to be protected, and it's a lot of work, and it costs a lot of money. And you're not allowed to just jump in a stream and clean it up. You
Right.
need to have DEC approval, and you need to do the right things. But we've done a lot of those good cleanups, and hopefully we'll mitigate some of these issues in the future,
Now, you've also been a very strong proponent of sewers.
Yes.
In the area, because one, you are in a low-lying area, and the cesspools and everything like that, eventually it's working its way back, those nitrogens, into the bay.
Yeah,
So, can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, we have. Luckily, Lindenhurst has a lot of sewers, right? Way before me, I was born in '91, but
Okay.
way before me, they did a lot of the sewer work, which is really important. I know, on the East End, it's a different story, and on the North Shore, it's a different story. That's why I think it is so important that the money that they're going to collect with this new bill and these taxes is going to go directly to providing sewers and more opportunity to prevent some of these contaminants from flowing into our aquifer and damaging our water quality.
And also, you have been a proponent of getting a lot of the roads fixed in the entire district, not just Lindenhurst, but the whole entire district.
Yeah, it's, when you're in a municipality, you only have control over your jurisdiction, right?
Right.
We've been very lucky in Lindenhurst to get money from Congressman Garbarino
Right.
to use our CHIPS funds, but it's collaborating with the state DOT and other agencies like the county to not only improve what's going on in Lindenhurst, but the roads that connect to Lindenhurst and bring people in and out of the village,
Right.
those primary roads. So, luckily working with Kevin, we've been able to tackle some of that. But of course, as everything else, there's a ton of roads on Long Island, right? And it's going to cost a lot of money to get those things done, and we got to allocate that money, and we have to
Right.
make sure that we're keeping up with our infrastructure.
Right, and a lot of problems that you have too,
Yeah.
and you must hear it 100 times in being deputy mayor, is that the jurisdictional part of the roads. There's village roads,
Yep.
there's town roads, there's county roads, and there's state roads.
Yep.
Okay, so a lot of times people will call and complain and say, hey, I have the problem on Sunrise Highway, and that's not really your
Our
road.
jurisdiction, yeah.
But you said you have already established a relationship with the other elected officials and stuff to work with this.
Yeah,
right?
Supervisor Schaefer is a great partner in the town of Babylon, and he really works well with us. And, there's even from roads that we split with the county or the town, Richie will come in and say, we'll pay for half, you pay for this half, let's see what we can work out to make sure that we're able to achieve the projects. It's not just like, well, that half's the town, we're just going to do our half. Luckily, local government works well together, and that's what's really important.
And also from the business end, because you said you were vice president of the Chamber of Commerce, and myself being the president of the Chamber of Commerce, I know how much hard work that is.
Yeah.
And you're working with the state, the town, and all of the local government, because you want to pull the businesses in, and the village is it's a perfect, nice little village to come and visit, buy stuff and everything. The small shops.
Yes. So the environment needs to be right for businesses to succeed.
Right.
The roads need to be clean. The sidewalks need to be clean. There needs to be parking. There needs to be directional signage. And there was a lot of that was lacking in Lindenhurst. And when we did our walkability study and our downtown master plan, we started to identify what needed to be happening immediately to help businesses. Parking is a huge issue where we are, right? So we purchased some property. We're hoping to be able to develop it in the future if that's a potential opportunity. But additionally, there were parcels that were like very abandoned and looking really blighted. We purchased those, we knocked the homes down, and we built more parking in the village. And, that is something that helps businesses. Now you have a lot that, is going to help businesses that are within, quarter of a mile of there or 1/8 of a mile of there, and be able to create an environment where people will want to go there because they don't have to go walk that far, right? So by tackling those things, it's helped local business and local commerce. Really be able to build a customer base,
Right, and changing the whole facade of the village, like the main street, which were, some of it was old, dilapidated, was able to get rebuilt, and now when you go down, it's a whole new world,
Yeah, when we started doing this project, we went to Kevin and we said, Kev, we need a bit of money. Could you help out? And he came across the table with a ton of money for us to be able to completely redo the sidewalks, the curbing, the brickwork. We had some state money from the Assemblywoman to redo the road, and literally the south side of Wellwood Avenue got a complete reface. And then businesses invested a ton of money in redoing a lot of their facades and signage through the Business Improvement District. They have a grant program. Now we have New York Forward money. We have about $1 million we're looking to spend on the north side of Wellwood Avenue to redo that whole section. Within the next 2 years, because it's definitely going to take a while to get some contracts from the state, Wellwood Avenue in the business district will be completely overhauled. It's the kind of overhaul that happens every 25, 30 years. So we're really excited about that, to be able to get this done through COVID and through all of these different issues that really held the project up.
Now, also, running for the legislative seat that you're running into, that business know-how is definitely going to help with the district, just like it did with Kevin. Expanding the businesses, not just for Lindenhurst, but for the whole entire district, working on their issues and problems that they're having.
Yeah, I mean, you go sit down at a Chamber of Commerce meeting and there's people from all different walks of life. They have all different needs, and you sit down, you start having a conversation, and what might be important to one business isn't important to another business, right? One business might be like, I've been here for 45 years. I have a customer base. I just need you to make sure there's parking,
Right.
But another business might say, listen, I need to attract people to my business. How can we promote my business? How can we get more synergy between the businesses? And, being the vice president of the Chamber of Commerce, I mean, I created so many different events to bring people into the village. And, some of the big events that we do, these Wednesdays on Wellwoods, these block parties that we do, bring over 3,000 to 5,000 people on a Wednesday night during the summer into the village, and it really helps the business community thrive. And I'm excited about those things, because what it also does is brings families to our downtown and into our community, and there's nothing better than seeing a ton of families and community together, and businesses doing well. And a testament to the businesses that have come in and the community in Lindenhurst, almost a majority of our businesses opened during COVID. We had about 14 new businesses open in the first year and a half, 2 years of COVID. And, all of those businesses, except for one, unfortunately, have stayed, have made it, have succeeded, have expanded. And it's just really a testament to the community coming out for them and the great businesses that they've built.
So you're pro-business, you're pro-environment. Now, the other big subject that's out there right now, which has been in the papers and everything like that, is we've been having a lot of illegal street racing.
Yep.
The ATVs driving on people's lawn, running people off the road.
Yeah.
Real dangerous stuff. I mean, from the expressway, and your district is not immune to it. It's a lot of it's been going on. Now, you've worked with Kevin on putting up these like speed areas to catch these people, and working with Suffolk County PD. Can you tell us?
Yeah.
More
So
about
they
that?
set up the task force, and now they've extended the task force in through the summer, and really, it's, to be a homeowner or, be on a residential block and all of a sudden there's a street takeover in your area. That's probably pretty scary. And it's not safe, right? And it's definitely a real issue. And I think it's super important that we support the police department and we fully back the police department to make sure they have the resources, the extra good people to be on patrol on highways and protect these areas. And furthermore, we need to educate the public about this. We need to be very clear that this is not safe, that this is not something we're going to allow in our county, and we're going to be aggressive about enforcement on it. And luckily, the police department have done that, and I'm really excited to see that hopefully they continue to be successful in that with their task force.
Now, with public safety, you also worked with that in the village of Lindenhurst, but also, not to quote, but taking a bite out of crime.
Yeah.
And, crime has just... during the past couple of years in the past, it was like, get arrested, it's a revolving door, I come right back out, commit a crime.
Yep, these cashless bail.
Right, and it was horrible. And I think a lot of those officials who made that mistake are starting to realize the mistake they made.
Yep.
Now, with crime, what are your stances on protecting, the other parts of this legislative district?
So I think, first of all, the police department in the 1st Precinct does an amazing job. They come to all of our community meetings. They host their own community meetings to engage with the public and talk about the issues that are going on. And I first of all, in our village, what we did was we increased public safety. We added more public safety to the team. Then we went ahead and we said we need to increase surveillance opportunities. There were no cameras in the village. We added cameras into the village to be able to, be a reference for all these things that were going on. And I think it helps mitigate crime. And the 1st Precinct also added more resources to the village. So we had a conversation with County Executive Romaine. He says, we'll get you the guys you need. And he really delivered for us. But what we've done in Lindenhurst probably needs to be replicated in other areas, right? And I know there are these other, non-villages, right? In the district, there's West Babylon, there's North Babylon, in Copeg. We need to make sure that the town and the county support those areas to create the safe environment for businesses to be able to succeed and prevention, right?
Right. So basically, people say the village is a small village and everything like that, but moving up into this legislative district, you're familiar with this whole entire legislative district, and you, like you said, you had worked with Kevin McCaffrey on other projects out in this area.
Yeah, so the village of Lindenhurst has got 27,000 residents. It's the largest village in Suffolk County, the 4th in the state of New York, and it's like running a small city, right? And I think being in village government has given me a great exposure to all the different issues that could go on. And my partnership with Kevin has been really important to me because it's helped me gain insight as to some of the issues that might exist in Copeg and West Babylon and the other areas of the district, and figure out how we could move forward and help those areas as well. And quite frankly, the issues aren't so large, right? We could find solutions, right? It's not like the problem's insurmountable and we can't combat it. We can, and if the resources are allocated, we'll take on these tasks and make sure that we protect those areas. And I think the police department does a great job with that right now. And I'm looking forward to being able to be the county legislator and to assist all those areas in the district as well.
Now, one of the things that's a plus that's on your side is the fact of being deputy mayor. You have dealt with every level of government, like you said about Rich Schaefer with the town.
Yep.
Kevin and Ed Romaine with the county. Okay, various state people, stuff like that. Now you're going to bring that experience into the fold if and when you become county legislator. That's going to be a big plus instead of having somebody who's going to be just coming in, not really knowing. And these relationships, as you know, take time to build. You coming in with those relationships, working with these people before, it kind of opens the door and fast tracks a lot of things.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. And I think the success in politics is about communicating and relationships and delivering real results, right? And that's something that I definitely bring to the table. I don't care, you're Democrat, you're Republican, you're whatever you are. I'll sit down, we'll have a conversation. What's our common ground, and what can we achieve together? And we do that in Lindenhurst, we do that in Babylon, and Ed Romaine's done that in the county. I've been to D.C., I've advocated for children's cancer bills, met with, back then, Peter King, Senator Schumer, most recently with the Speaker of the House on certain things. And I have to tell you, when you could sit down, you could have a real conversation with people and respect them, you could achieve anything. And I think I'm excited about the ability to be able to deliver more for the residents in this district.
I wanted to ask you also that, as well as being the deputy mayor, you have another job, which is kind of hard to believe because
Yeah, a real one.
it's so much. So that's a lot of work, and that really proves that you're dedicated to the community. Tell us a little bit about your other job.
Yeah, so I am the Director of Client Services for a company called Ascenta, and we do a lot of work with non-for-profits. We recruit ongoing monthly sustainers for them. So I have some really large clients out there, like ASPCA, Disabled American Veterans, United Service Organization, USO, and we do a lot of really good work. We're in 40 different cities throughout the country, and we've got about 500 people out there every day fundraising and trying to recruit monthly donors for these non-for-profits. And we raise some significant money for these charities, and it's actually really fulfilling work. It's something I believe in. I've started multiple non-for-profits, and that's something that's really important to me.
Yeah, well, like you said, doing that, being deputy mayor, which, like you said, Mike throws everything basically at you, and then handling that job. Plus, I guess you have a lot of staff underneath you also working. That just shows your type of character, community driven.
Yeah, I'm. Everybody at work laughs at me because I'm one of those people that I onboard you. You work with me. You figure out how I think. I get you to figure out how I think. And then I give you a task, go get it done. You come to me with a problem. How can I help you? I look at you. You know the answer. What's the answer? And really, my whole job is to grow people, get them to think how the business works, how we could help more non-for-profits. And I have an amazing team of people that I work for. And they're all over the country, right? So my boss, she's from Australia, and she lives in Chicago. But when I kicked off my campaign, she flew in from Chicago. My other coworker's in Canada. She flew in from Canada. My other friend, the coworker's in upstate New York. She came down all from my launch, and they fully support everything that I do. And honestly, it's like every day on the phone, what can we do to help? I'm like, you have a real job here. Like, you work on this stuff, but really supportive. It's nice.
Thank God you didn't have to make any house calls to Australia.
Yeah, right? Thank God, yeah. Maybe a trip wouldn't be so bad. I don't think I've been on vacation in a while, so.
But, with the campaign coming up and the work that you're doing and the work you're continuing to doing, that's the most important thing. Now, also, you've been working on doing downtown revitalization, not just for Lindenhurst, but for the rest of the area. Kevin was mentioning about that.
Yeah, so I think it's so important when communities work together, right? That old saying, rising tide raises all ships, right? I think that's the saying. And we replicate ideas that go on in Babylon Village and things that are really successful. We want to bring them here, and we try to always share ideas between our chambers. I go to the Copic Chamber of Commerce meetings. I attend a lot of the Babylon Chamber of Commerce events and ribbon cuttings. And I really think it's important to network and communicate and work together. And that's been some of our greatest success. We've got some amazing businesses that have come from Babylon and vice versa. Some that have opened up here, been successful and went there. So working together with those groups has, really given me a diversity of different needs of downtowns. And, when, like you said, downtown revitalization has been my key thing. And it is... I'm so proud to go through the village and not see empty stores and vacant stores. Right. There's a couple here and there, and we're working on those. But, now for us, it's about, we have all these amazing restaurants. We're a culinary destination. Now we have to attract different types of shops and some other different, boutiques and stuff to the village so that we could diversify a little. And that's what we're working on right now.
Right, and the blight is gone.
The blight is gone. The blight. We have one big blight that we have to work on, a 4-acre parcel, but hopefully the residents will come together with the village and the potential developer and figure out a solution that works for everybody. If the community isn't in favor of it, then it's not going to garner the support from the village. And really, we want something in this parcel that's going to meet the needs of the community, and work for everybody.
So you're for the environment, you're pro-environment, you're for downtown revitalization, you're for water protection and land preservation, you're pro-police to get the anti-crime, to get all this crime in these streets cleaned up from this. And people should not have to fear, taxpayers should not have to fear the roads that they're paying on being ripped apart by these street racers and stuff like that.
Yeah. I would also say another thing that I think is really important is fiscal responsibility. Our bond rating is really strong in Lindenhurst. It's maintained since my tenure there. We've worked really hard to get the taxpayers the most out of their taxes, and to be able to, improve the quality of the village and the quality of life. So fiscal responsibility is another thing that's on the top of my list.
And I took the words out of my mouth. That was the next subject
Oh,
I was
good.
going to get into. But one question for you is that what would you like to see in the future of Suffolk County and in your legislative district?
So I think exactly as you put it. I mean, and you did the speech better than I probably could. You ran through it really quick. I want to make sure that my kids have safe drinking water, that they live in a nice community, that the residents of the town are proud of the town that they live in, and that we're fully backing our police department. Our district attorney, Ray Tierney, is doing an amazing job. We need to be fully backing him and supporting him, and the police department that's out there every day putting their lives on the line. I mean, and especially our fire departments too. We've invested so much in our fire departments, getting them the equipment that they need to, answer the calls at 3 a.m. So in my mind, what I want for Suffolk County is to be able to protect the things that I believe in, which is that water quality, that quality of life. Not to overtax the residents here, protect the police department and make sure they have the tools that they need, and continue to enforce law and order here. And Ray Tierney's doing a great job with that.
Well, we're almost out of time, but I will ask you a question I ask everybody who's running. Why should people vote for R J Renna?
It's a great question, Larry. And I would say that if you look at my track record in Lindenhurst, you'll see that I'm somebody who gets things done. I say I want to do something, I get that across the line. We need to continue to move Suffolk County forward. We need to not look back. We need to make sure that we're delivering for our residents and that we're bringing the county up a level. And I'm the guy to do that, without a doubt. And I look forward to serving the residents of LD14, serving the county, and doing the best that I can to bring my experience in business, in community groups, downtown revitalization to the forefront, and delivering for everybody in LD14.
Well, we're proud to endorse you here at the Excelsior Forum and
Thank you.
Profiles. And you've had quite another list of endorsements that are behind you. I believe the county executive, Kevin McCaffrey, the PO, Anthony Mineta, who is also on the board, and quite a few others, right?
Yeah, I'm very lucky to receive the endorsement. We did a kickoff on December 9th. Ed Romaine came out and publicly endorsed me. Presiding Officer McCaffrey did. Assemblyman Durso, Mayor Leverada, State Senator Alexis White, and the list goes on. As you said, Councilman Mineta. And that just shows the relationships that I have in the different levels of government. And these people believe that I'm the right guy. And I appreciate their support. And I know that together, we're gonna move forward. We're gonna win our primary, and we're gonna move on. We're gonna win the general.
Well, we wish you the best of luck, and we're out of time here on Excelsior Forum and Profiles. Until next time, I'm Larry Mike Arenda. Take care and have a safe and happy summer.